In this video, I'm going to show you the exact steps you need to take in order to start your remote training business. Maybe you only have a couple guys or you're starting from zero. I'm going to walk you through A to Z, the entire process to get your business off the ground. So that way you can start making money on the internet, training people remotely, and you can actually make the impact in the game that you want, stay in the game, so you don't got to go get a 9-to-5 like I did or some of my other dudes who are now doing remote training full time. So I hope you enjoy the video and I'll catch you in it. Peace.
All right, so let's jump right into this video. This is going to be how to start a remote training business. It won't be so much about how to scale it, although these are the foundational principles you're going to want to take away when you do go to scale a remote training business, right? But if you have 5 or less clients, like you're probably going to need to implement these principles in order to set yourself up for success in the future. So let's kind of jump right into this video. What we're going to be going over, right? Number 1, you got to create an offer. Number 2, you got to have the right marketing message. Number 3, you got to be able to sell those people that you get interested in. And number 4, creating some structure around that. We'll go more in depth in each of these steps as we go along. But the main thing you want to remember is this is the order of operations that you want to go in, right? Don't worry so much about the structure or how do I sell to people if you don't even have an offer in place, right? If you don't even have something that you're going to do. These are the steps that you need to take if you want to actually set yourself up for success moving forward, right? So let's jump right into it. Number 1, the offer. So an offer is something that you are, presenting to somebody in exchange for money for your services, right? So like you got to think, who am I going to help? What am I going to help them with? What is the dream outcome that they're going to get? And then maybe you can even add in a time frame there for you working with them, right? So I work with a catching coach. How to drop your pop time in 4 weeks or less by 0.1 or more, right? So we got to think that is his specific offer, but how did we come to that? So he's a really, really good thrower, right? He's got a really good arm. He's really good at helping people throw better, right? He has a ton of knowledge about blocking, a ton of knowledge about receiving, a ton of knowledge about the position as a catcher as a whole. But he's got to think, what do I help people with very, very specifically? Because at the end of the day, you want to solve one specific problem. You don't want to try and do too many different things because that's a one-way ticket to blend in with the masses. And you're not going to be able to really, really niche down on like who specifically you want to work with and speak directly to them in the marketing, right? So when we're thinking about our offer, it's very important that you get this right, where you think, what am I going to help these guys with? Who are those people? What's the dream outcome? How long am I planning on working with them, right? Because people always want a time frame. People always want to know, how quickly can you get this done for me, right? And you got to think like, who gets the best results with you? If you've worked with people already in the past, and you got to think, who are the people that I've helped the most, right? Because those are the people that we're going to target, and what did you help them get the result with, right? Let's say you were a hitting coach and you just helped hitters, right? Oh, I help guys hit better. But what does that specifically mean? Think about what you help them do better, right? Were they able to hit for a higher OPS, right? They walk more and hit for more power. Or did they make more contact? Or did they have more confidence, right? These are the things we need to be thinking about when we're constructing an offer, because at the end of the day, like I keep saying, you want to solve one specific problem for one specific person, and it's going to make your marketing so much easier. So when you keep all these questions that I have on the screen in your mind, that way you can think, what am I trying to do for these people? What problem am I trying to solve? What's the result that they're going to get out of it? In what time frame? And we can kind of go into how you're going to market that right now, right? So like I was saying before, you got to think about who you want to work with, and not just specifically like who you want to work with, but even more specific than that, you want to think of them as your ideal avatar, right? So you want to like give them a name, an age, or like a demographic of like where they're from and what problems they're facing, right? Like what are their deep pain points? We want to think about them emotionally. What is that person like? Because people are going to buy with emotion and then justify with logic, right? So if we can connect to them emotionally and say, hey, I know what you're feeling. Here's how you can solve it, right? They're going to be like, this guy gets me. And these things that he's showing in your content makes sense. These are actually solving my problems. This guy can help me. He gets me. He can solve my problems, right? That is the gap that we're trying to bridge. Okay. So I kind of touched on it already, but content creation, right? You want to provide real value to people, right? You want to help them solve problems for free with your content. Hey guys, if you're struggling to, let's say you're a speed coach, you're struggling to run faster, here are 3 ways you can run faster tomorrow. Boom, boom, boom. And then some kid sees that, he's like, oh wow, this is exactly what I'm struggling with. I'm going to try that out. He goes out, tries it. He's like, wow. And then the next day you post, hey, if you're somebody who's struggling with your speed and you want more information, DM me the word this, right? And they DM you, then you start the conversation. That's all part of your marketing, right? But you want to warm them up with your content. You want to nurture these people with your content and show them, hey, I get you. I know exactly what problems you're facing, what your deepest pain points are. Here's how you can solve them, right? And then they're going to be much more likely to take action when you ask to take action, right? When you say, hey, DM me this, book a call with me here, right? You can ask a million different ways, right? You want to make a call to action, but if you make a call to action on deaf ears, like nobody's going to take that action, right? No, you got to give them a reason to take the action. If you want to solve your problems, then do this. Have I solved your problems before? Yes. Do you want your problems to be solved even more in depth? Yes. Would you like me to help them? Yes. Then click here, right? That is the message that we're trying to send. And then another thing that I think is absolutely vital in your marketing is proof of concept, right? You can tell your story, your athletes' stories, and the process of how they got those results, right? So for example, if you're watching this video, you know, I mean, probably that I scaled my remote training business to multiple 6 figures, right? In less than 10 months. And so you're like, oh shit, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. I wonder if he's helped other people. Yes, he's helped other people. This is a video of showing you how I got those people results, right? So that's exactly the same process that you want to go through, right? You want to say, hey, this is my story. These are the people that I've worked with that have used my similar training methodologies. And then this is how they did it, right? Walking you through step by step. This is exactly what I did with mine. I created an offer. Who do we want to work with? How are we going to target them? And then on the next slide, I'm going to tell you how we're going to sell them, right? And then how to create structure around it. But that is what you want your marketing to be surrounded around. And then the last point on the slide is sales objections, right? So as you start talking to people on the phone, they're going to start saying, oh, I don't know if this is for me because of X, Y, and Z. Then boom, you know exactly what kind of content you need to make it more clear to people that you can help them solve these problems and why their objections are invalid, right? So that's exactly what we're trying to do in the marketing is we're trying to say, hey, if you're this person who struggles with this problem because of these things, I can help you solve them. Here's how, right? That is the whole marketing message. In the sales process, okay? You want a consistent and repeatable process because, like I say all the time in my content, people can get eyeballs. And if you want to pay Meta a little bit of money, you can pay for eyeballs, right? But it's about how you monetize those eyeballs that you're getting, right? So what do we want? We want to optimize to get people on the phone. We want to book appointments with these people over the phone. So we can actually talk to them and see if we can help them, right? Because at the end of the day, like if you're just putting something up on the internet and saying, hey, you can sign up with my remote training here, and you don't have any sort of gate to get through, in my opinion, you're not really targeting anybody in specific like that, and you're not making sure that they're like a good fit for your program. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, it's just anybody can train with us. We help everybody. And that's not necessarily the case, especially if you are just one person trying to help people. If you're a gigantic company, then yeah, it's a little bit different. But if you are a specific trainer trying to take on people individually, right? You want to get on the phone with people and make sure that they're actually qualified for your program, that you can actually help them because results drive everything, right? If you can get results from people, then everything else is cake, right? Because if you get results, then you can say, okay, here's the people that have gotten results from this offer. Now I can promote that in my marketing. Then when you get on the phone with people, they already know that you can get them to the outcome. They just need to ask a couple questions to make sure that everything is good to go, right? And you can ask them questions to make sure that they're qualified for your program, right? And when you get them on the phone, literally sales is where are you now? Where do you want to get to? And then here's how my program bridges the gap. Does that make sense? Awesome, right? That is really all you need to do. But the fortune is really in the follow-ups, right? So, and I don't just mean like, hey man, do you want to get going now? It's like, hey, here's a video that I just made about X, Y, and Z. Go watch it, right? Then they're watching your content, you're helping them solve their problems. By the time you get on the phone with them, they're already ready because they know you can already solve their problems, right? It's the same thing after that you get on the phone with them. Hey, I actually was just thinking about you. I had this video that I think would really help you based on what we talked about on the phone. So that way they know you're actually listening, right? So you can't do this if you don't actually care about the kid, if you're not actually listening, if you're not actually trying to help them solve their problems, right? You want to continue to follow up with them and say, hey, this can help you, this can help you, this can help you, right? Flood them with value so that they're going to feel like you are the best option for them because you actually care. Wow, so amazing, right? If you actually care about these people in this entire process and you actually get results, everything else comes, right? So once we sell people, the next thing we're going to want to think about structure, okay? Where are you going to host your program on? You know, I use Trainerize in my business and some of my clients use Trainerize. I know some people use OnForm. Some people use Google Sheets, right? And some are better than others in terms of integrations and automations, things like that, which if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I can help you with that in my program. But really what's important is that you get something that is easy to use for the client, right? You want it to have an easy interface. The last thing you want is for people to be like, oh, this program's difficult to use. Then they're not going to use it. Then they're not going to get the results. Then they're going to talk shit about you. Then you're not going to get more athletes, right? It's all about servicing the client, right? So you want to make sure that you have a good place to host your program. Number two, you want to track, right? Because what is measured is improved, right? You want to be able to track your conversion percentages from the time that somebody became a lead to when they got on the phone to when they closed, right? So that way you can measure your own performance. And if you ever wanted to scale your remote training business, it would have the foundations in place to where you can measure somebody who's working for you, their performance versus yours. And you can set standards of like, you need to hit these numbers and these are the inputs that you need to put into the system to get those outputs, right? This can all seem very complex. So if you want to skip all the hard part of setting it all up, you can always reach out to me. But organization, right? You want to make sure that you're organized because once you reach around 20 athletes, you might be a little bit overwhelmed, especially if you've never done it before. That's 100% normal. So you need that organization to make sure you don't lose your mind. You need some sort of structure, some sort of system where you reach out to this guy on this day every single week, right? Or 3 times a week, or, you know, once a week you're on this call, right? You need some sort of structure, some sort of system in place. So that way it makes the fulfillment easier for everybody, right? It's better for the client. It's better for you because you know exactly what you're doing. You can build your schedule around that. And also you have a tracker up to where you know, okay, his next payment is on this date. He last paid me on this date. This is how far along he is in his program, right? You want to be able to track all those things and be organized so that way you can continue to scale it. Even if you only have 5 or 10 guys, if you're unorganized, you're going to lose all those guys. They're going to be like, this guy never reaches out to me. I never know what's going on. You know, the Google sheet that he sent me is sometimes locked and then I click on a video and it's the wrong video. Like you don't want any of that, right? You want to make sure that what you have is structured. And obviously as you go and get better over time, right? That's really the most important thing is that the more time you do this, the better you'll get at it, right? But those are the things that I think are absolutely vital, right? You got to create an offer. You got to be able to market your offer. You got to be able to sell your offer, which I would say most people don't know how to sell their offer. And then number 4, you got to have some sort of structure behind the whole operation, right? Whether it comes to actually delivering client results, your sales process, what are you trying to do in your marketing? What does your offer look like? The tracking, everything, right? These are all the things that you need set up in your business in order to actually continue to grow it the way that you want and have it set it up to where your clients are actually going to get good results. So if you are a sports coach who is looking to grow their remote business, then obviously you can reach out to me. You can book in a call with me down below. If you're the right fit, we'll get started. If you're not that guy, obviously don't do that. You can watch my other stuff on YouTube. You can watch my Instagram, blah, 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 blah. I'll provide you with a ton of value, right? This is very, very important. This is what I implement with every single one of my clients. And I'm giving it to you for free in this YouTube video, right? So if you want to go ahead and try and figure this out on your own, that's cool. That's what I did. I figured it out on my own, but it took me a long time. It was hard as shit, right? It was super difficult. It took me a ton of time. So you can either pay with your time or you can pay with your money and invest with me. And I'll show you how to do this A to Z, set it all up for you. It'll be super easy. So if you're a cool guy, sports coach, looking to grow your remote training business, and you have a hunger to improve and you're not a loser, then hit me up. But until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.